ground and the premise for all rights to come. Evidently, this right to have rights is not a positive right itself. There's never been an element of the series of rights, of human rights, of civil rights, of political rights, declared by any constitutional state. It is not a right. It's not illegal. Cannot be claimed. But it is always presupposed by every declaration of rights. And must be presupposed because otherwise the rights were not legal. The legal rights were not legal. So there must be an instance preceding the actual positing of rights, the declaration of rights, the assumption of rights, and the attribution of rights. And this instance preceding the rights can only be the claim to define oneself by way of rights. Now you can, of course, now oppose this claim by pointing out that rights may be wrong, and the human rights, as analyzed by Marx, are in fact not only hampering themselves, they are actually self-destroying, self-destructive. They are rights against rights. They are not rights to have rights. They are not rights for rights, as admirable as many of them may be. The right to live, the right for equality, the right to exercise freedoms, freedom of opinion, freedom of action, and so forth and so on. But the consequence would be that the existing, the positive, or the natural rights are rights to do wrong, are rights to wrong other people, are rights to turn against them whenever they threaten your security, they trespass and break, they touch upon your property, they hamper your free movements, as in trading and so forth and so on. And accordingly, these rights are in themselves, if you look closely into them, are in themselves wrongs and wronging each other. And that can be shown in every modern state constitution, in particular in the cases of property. It's unfortunate, but it is the case. So the problem is really not a very new one. The right to have rights is the right to wrong. To wrong others. The right to have rights is the right to do wrong in a certain way. You can never exclude this possibility. You always have to take upon you this risk. A fundamental right, a pre-positive and pre-natural right, if you want, is certainly the right to run risks. And in particular to run the risk of issuing rights and claiming rights and stating and imposing rights that may conflict with one another and conflict with the interests of those for whom they are made. There's absolutely no way there's absolutely no way of excluding this risk. The very structure of possibility is commands the opening unto the possibility of doing wrong.
But would Levinas not disagree by saying your ethical obligation in such a case would be to interrupt your right to rights? Saying, okay, I have this right, but I'm not exercising it.
The ethical obligation, the ethical obligation for Levinas, if there's only one reading, I suppose there are many readings of this obligation, is the obligation to speak for the other, which can be easily interpreted as to speak for the other possibility that is still open for me to become a human, to become a member, a social member of a human society, to become a member of a political human society, to become a member of both social and political human society, and so forth and so on. So this is a possibility of the other, of another society, of another politics. And whenever I'm opting for the right to have rights, I'm in fact opting and I'm voting and I'm doing something and I'm speaking for this other possibility. So I'm speaking for the other. For me as another and for all of you as others.
Okay, guys,
even in Levinas, I don't see a possibility of excluding the risk.
Measure. Yes.
Thank you for your discussion, because I found it to be fascinating, and I was particularly delighted to see Hannah Arendt mentioned in your work. I have a question regarding what precipitated your interest in this topic. Has there been a recent event that's precipitated the dialogue, or has this been an ongoing dialogue for you over time?
Oh, a number of things. No, I have an old interest in political theology. I always ask myself, what is the connection between politics and theology, politics and religion, historically, structurally, socially, and so forth and so on. And I was always astonished to find in nearly all, if not in all, political theories, a very, very strong reference to theology, and that is Christian theology. One of the most pronounced and serious and grave critiques of politics, that of the so-called young Marx. He wasn't that young any longer at that point. Puts the dot on the I in a way by just very, very dryly stating that modern state democracies are essentially Christian in essence. So the states we are living in are Christian, which may come as a surprise to you, but it is also a historical fact. If you study the English Reformation revolution politics, you will find that the particular structures, political and legal structures we are inhabiting, to a very large degree based on Christian assumptions and structures that have been elaborated in Christian societies, churches, communities of the faithful, and so forth and so on. There are a number of studies of the historical connections between Christian religion and democratic states forms. And evidently they don't really work. They maintain themselves, but they are not guarantors of any kind of justice. To the contrary, I mean, the injustices the system has brought about are just horrible.